The Manchester Derby at Wembley. They meet again, right? So, as they ended the season, these Manchester Giants, the red and the blue, okay, they met on the last game of last season domestically, which was the FA Cup, and then they also met now, right, in the FA Community Shield. So how this FA Community Shield works is like the winners of the Premier League taking on the winners of the FA Cup. So the winners of the Premier League were obviously Manchester City, and then the winners of the FA Cup were Manchester United, surprisingly. It was just a surprising match in that FA Cup final was so surprising. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. But hey, congratulations once again to Manchester United. But this time, Manchester City avenged their FA Cup final defeat by Manchester United, as now Pep Guardiola's side triumphed 7-6 via penalty shootout, after the Community Shield had finished like level at the Wembley Stadium. So look, man, it was actually a decent game, but it really was not as exciting as I expected, okay? Yes, Bernardo Silva, he leveled for the Blues in the final minute, but that had like City's first spot kick saved by Andre Onana to actually give Manchester United the advantage, right? However, we also saw Edison save Jadon Sancho's effort before the veteran defender Johnny Evans fired over, allowing Manuel Akanji to secure victory in this competition for the first time since 2019 in front of almost 80,000 spectators, right? And how I can say it is, Garnacho had a wonderful game, coming off the bench, right? Garnacho, he's fresh from winning the Copa America with Argentina, and Alejandro Garnacho, he may have thought that he had given Manchester United the victory 9 minutes from time when he collected possession at the end of a flowing move deep into the City half, instigated by his skipper Bruno Fernandes, and then he drove a low shot into the bottom corner, right? And from that particular moment, look, Silva's initial bad-tempered response to that was, a barge into Garnacho's long, after he had moved the ball on to earn himself a booking. And the Portuguese's next intervention was actually far more positive, as the young Norwegian Oscar Bob was spinning into space by the goal line, and then you look at Silva, right? Silva was pulling on to, the makeshift left back, Facundo Pelestri, at the far post. And then, Silva, he's not the tallest of players, but he had enough spring and intuition to actually climb above the Uruguayan and actually head in the equalizer at the far post. And it set up a climax that actually triggered elation in the City ranks. And it was actually disappointment indeed among the Manchester United faithful, many of whom, left well before the presentation of the trophy, right? And the thrilling ending was hardly, in keeping with sometimes stodgy occasion at both, sides struggle to actually reach their highest levels. They both sides, remember both sides, right? They hit the post. James McAtee, did so in the first half when he seized onto a wayward Lisandro Martinez pass. And then Marcus Rashford did the same in the second half when he was sent by Garnacho through on goal, one-on-one. You'd expect Marcus Rashford to actually put that one in the back of the net. There was no other way, ladies and gentlemen. You would definitely expect Marcus Rashford to put that one in the back of the net. But, well, I guess that's still an area of concern on my part, considering Marcus Rashford's, performance in this particular encounter. There's still a huge area of concern from him, because he had two great opportunities, two great chances, two clear great chances that you would expect a player of his caliber, a player who always gets that hype, a player, who has always been deemed to be this next great big thing that Manchester United are going to produce. A player that is always, so much is always expected of him. So much is demanded from him. But he just doesn't seem to rise up to the occasion when it matters. But hopefully, remember, it's still the Community Shield, right? The season hasn't begun. The season begins, in the next few days or so. But I would really expect Rashford should have done better. Because now, currently, in my opinion, I just feel like Rashford's form is still a huge area of concern, right? Look, The interim England boss, Lee Carsley, who left his position as the under-18s coach in the City's academy in 2017, watched on from the royal box after it was actually confirmed by the FA that he would be in charge for at least, the two nations games against the Republic of Ireland as well as Finland next month, right? I'm talking about the Three Lions, England, and probably for the rest of the year. And one of his first decisions will be to recall Rashford, who was left out of Gareth Southgate's Euro 2024 squad after scoring just 8 times last season. Remember, Rashford only found the back of the net 8 times. So I couldn't necessarily blame Southgate for actually leaving him out of the squad. And, it does not even appear that the manager, Erik ten Hag, is not quite sure on how to get the best out of the 26-year-old Rashford. Because less than a week after saying he felt Rashford was better suited for a wide role, he elected him to play, through the center of the attack rather than, actually give the, Joshua Zirkzee a debut. Remember, Joshua Zirkzee, who was recently signed from Bologna, right? And Rashford then actually failed to take the glorious chance provided by Garnacho. It was a huge worry, because, it looked like Rashford was also perplexed, at the way how he failed to take the opportunity. Because Rashford might have created a goal for Scott McTominay when he sent a far post header bouncing into the 6-yard area when the Scot failed to make contact with the goal at his mercy. And with a far stronger starting 11 on paper, the outcome was not a positive one for Manchester United, and possibly underlines why they are looking to Bayern Munich to strengthen their defense, in the form of the Dutch defender Matthias de Ligt as well as the Moroccan international Nassour Mazraoui. Right? And it seems like they are closing in on that deal. Okay? They seemingly are closing in on that deal, but we'll give you an update very soon. The update will be given very soon. And then shortly after the game, we also saw that Pep Guardiola, he did also underline the difference in importance of the occasion compared to, last season's FA Cup, when he actually walked out ahead of his team wearing an admittedly, expensive looking white t-shirt, as opposed to, his shirt and tie attire of the 3 months earlier, which Ten Hag repeated. Yet his desire to win remains huge, no matter what the game, right? The penalty shootout triumph, brought a double fist pumping celebration. And it was not only, when the contest, was over that he made his feelings known. At one point, he even swiveled around in disgust, right, at what he perceived to be Nico O'Reilly's waste of possession, and didn't look impressed by an Oscar Bob shot that was sailed harmlessly wide. And deep down though, the City boss must have been reasonably, pleased with the first 20 minutes of the game. After all, only 3 of City's FA Cup final teams started on this occasion, and 4 of his Euro 2024 contingent, which includes Rodri, Phil Foden, John Stones, as well as Kyle Walker, did not even return to training up until Monday. And to add into the injury that sidelined Jack Grealish, 4 current international on the bench, including, the Brazilian international Savinho, he was also unrecognizable from the one that, he actually will attempt to actually win a 5th consecutive Premier League title and the Club World Cup across a 48-week season that will only end, perhaps it might only end on the 13th of July next season, right? This coming season, and after 2 seasons on loan at Sheffield United, Guardiola said that, the preseason trip to the United States, that he does also intend to keep James McTee, this term. And it would also be asking a lot to think that the Salford-born midfielder could emulate another academy graduate in Foden. But, as City assess whether to replace the Argentine forward, Julian Alvarez, McAtee will actually, be catching the eye. And he is industrious out of possession, which opposition's defenses don't actually like that, right? And he does not seem to even lack confidence. In addition to hitting the post, he also took aim from 25 yards in the second half as the ball broke to him. The effort was off target but near enough to have Andre Onana scrambling. And with Bob playing a major role in the equalizer, it will actually be fascinating to see how much faith Guardiola is willing to place in the young stars, in what lies ahead for the season. And obviously, in my opinion, I believe that the man of the match should go to Garnacho. I mean, he was indeed the game changer in this particular encounter. He was.